You're now watching the Danny Mac Podcast on the Bet Rivers Network.
And welcome back to the Danny Mac Podcast on the Bet Rivers Podcast Network. The Bears with another win. That's right, I'm counting them. We're stacking victories here in the Matt Eberflus third year as head coach of the Bears. They'll try to make it another one this week when they go to Cincinnati. And speaking of Cincinnati, we got an ex-Bengal on the line with us today to talk receivers and offense. And that's TJ Houshmandzadeh of Fox Sports 1, the former Bengals wideout who keeps an eye on all things college football out west. TJ, thanks for the time. How you doing?
Well, man, how are you?
It's outstanding to have you on board today, and it's exciting to be in Chicago these days, and we haven't said that about our football team offensively unless we've been talking about a running back in my life. And I've seen some things that you have said and read things that you have said about these new Bears, and I know you share a lot of excitement here in Chicago about the quarterback. Let's start with Caleb Williams. What do you like from young 18?
Man, I think the better question would be what I don't like. Give you a better answer. I like everything about him. I like his temperament. I like his makeup. I like his ability to play the position at a high level. Going into Chicago will for sure, it'll be different towards the end of the season, and that wind starts to swirl. It's not called the Windy City for no reason, but Caleb is the right person for the job. I'll be completely shocked if he doesn't obliterate and take every passing record that any Chicago Bear quarterback has ever held.
You know, I'm glad you feel that way, because some people have already suggested it's a little bit too strong to submit that he should have a CJ Stroud type of year. Why? With everything they've given this young man, as long as they keep him vertical, he should throw for 4,000 yards this year, given good health, right?
If he plays in all 17 games, I don't gamble. Well, I'll bet here and there like my buddies. I'd bet my house he'd throw for 4,000 yards if he plays 17 games. He's going to, like, the way the game is, it's a quarterback-friendly game. It's you can't really touch him. You can't really bang the receivers too much anymore. And so Caleb Williams is the perfect guy for Chicago at this moment. And people got to realize, like, yes, the Texans had a really good year. Yes, CJ Stroud had a good year. But if the Jacksonville Jaguars don't collapse, the Texans don't get into the playoffs. They don't make the playoffs if the Jags don't collapse in December. And so I can see the Bears having that type of season where you come down to the last 3 or 4 games and they're fighting for a playoff spot.
They have a bunch of games against non-divisional opponents to start the season. I don't think they have a divisional game until their 10th of the season. Do you like going about it that way, or would you rather get tested a little earlier?
You want to be tested early, but if you have a rookie quarterback, and so, no, let me just say this. Every game is a test. You look at the schedule and say, everybody in the National Football League can play. It's the best of the best. It's the best league in the world, the best players in the world. And so every game is a test. And if I'm a rookie, if I can start off light, I would prefer it. There are no light touches. It's not like this is college football and you're playing a subdivision team. This is the National Football League. Everybody's good. And so, yeah, you don't play a divisional opponent, but you're going to play some good teams right out the gate.
I know you had a chance to spend a little time with Caleb Williams in Indianapolis at the Combine. What did you learn about him?
Oh, man, he loves football. He's a good dude, good person. I like the way that he treats people. Because when you become a really good player, let's just say college, everybody wants your time. Everybody wants your attention. Everybody wants to say hi. They want an autograph. They want a picture. And this is daily, every single day, 24 hours. Whenever you're out in public, somebody wants your attention, somebody wants your time, somebody wants something from you, whether it's a picture or an autograph. And that's never going to end for Caleb Williams, at least for the next 15 years. He's been dealing with it for 3 to 4 years, and just the way he interacted with people, like we were conversing in a public setting at the combine, and for a couple hours actually, and he was just friendly to everybody that walked by. And that's not easy to do. It isn't, because this happens all the time, every single day for a professional athlete. And I don't think people understand that, but he understands also that that may be that kid's first and last time ever seeing him. And he doesn't want to ruin that moment for that kid. And I like that aspect when it comes to players understanding the position that they're in, and that may be that kid's first and last time ever seeing you.
He does bring a lot of maturity to the table. That's something that struck me right out of the gate as well. He seems to be willing to fit in. He's one of the guys. And I wonder, too, if the maturity is enhanced a little bit, TJ, because of some of the NIL money he received. Now, money doesn't make you a more mature guy, but you have the opportunity to develop some life skills, and he obviously got those growing up in D.C. with involved parents, and seemingly has done everything right along the way.
Yeah, I don't think money plays any part in that. It's your upbringing. It's your parents raising you the correct way, teaching you values, morals, integrity, how to handle yourself. But more than anything, just being a good human being, man. It's very simple. I have 4 children of myself, and I tell my kids all the time. I took my kids to school this morning, and we have a routine. And one of the sayings, how do you treat people? How I want to be treated. We go through this every single day, and so that's all it is. You treat people how you want to be treated until they show you they don't deserve to be treated that way. Then we move and act accordingly. But until then, you just treat people how you want to be treated. That's not a hard thing to do. He was raised the correct way. I don't think money has anything to do with it. But he's been in the spotlight now for years. And so that part of it, you learn to handle yourself and do things the correct way. I'm sure he'll get better at it, but he's already to the point now where if he encounters man, listen, I don't think people understand. There are certain days you just like, man, I don't want to take any pictures. I don't want to sign any autographs. And as a player, you do it anyway, but you don't want to do it. You do it anyway. We all wake up certain days like, man, I feel like shit today. And then you see some people, they may cheer you up, and you don't want to do it, but you do it anyway because it's a responsibility when you've been given so much because you're good at a sport.
Let's talk a little bit about his help around him. The 9th pick in the draft, Rome Odunze, the Washington Husky, had 10 games with 100 or more yards last year, 1,600 yards. He finishes second in Washington history in receiving yards, and I think touchdowns as well. There are a lot of people who thought he was as good as any receiver on the board. How high were you on Odunze coming out of Washington?
Oh, I like Rome a lot. Just his ball skills can't teach that. You can't teach the way that he can go up and just easily adjust to the ball, make really difficult catches look routine.
TJ, why is it so common? I don't know if common is the right word, but why does it happen so regularly where receivers who conclude their careers with very impressive resumes struggled early on, took 2 or 3 years to get the engine going? Why is that for that position such a difficult task?
Honestly, I'm going to let you in on a little secret, and a lot of people in the NFL know this. They just don't say it, but I don't care. The receiver position is the most undercoached position in sports. The majority of receiver coaches have never played. So, yeah, they teach you football. They will teach you football. But when you are really having a hard time getting open in certain routes, can they really explain to you how to get open? They can't, because they don't know. All they can do is watch film of somebody else and assume what he was thinking and say, hey, try this. but they don't really know. There's a handful of really good coaches in the league, receiver coaches, and in college. And so you're not being taught the way you should be taught. There are receiver coaches that teach the craziest things. And I know this is fact because I've been around them. And you're like, dude, what is he teaching us? But you go along with it because what are you going to do? And so I say that to say, you got to, as receivers, you got to get better on your own. You got to get better in the offseason, or you just pray and you hope that you get put in a situation where you can learn from a Keenan Allen. You can learn from a DJ Moore. Because if you don't have that, that's why you see so many guys that, quote unquote, are a bust when they were drafted so high. I don't believe that's the case. They just weren't taught, and their receiver coach can't teach them.
You know, if this is Keenan Allen's only year with the Bears, it's still worth that 4th or 5th round pick for me, for what you just said. The veteran leadership he lends to the team and a willingness to stick around afterward and work with young players. He gets nothing but rave reviews from every teammate he's ever been with, and that's rare.
I mean, I don't care what he's going to teach them. They're going to learn from him, but the 4th or 5th round pick, he's going to give you way more production than any 4th or 5th round pick would have given you. And so just from that perspective, it's worth it. And then when you add on what you just said, can Rome and the other young guys, even DJ will learn from Keenan. And so that within itself is a lot. But, yeah, the receiver position, man, I was just talking to an NFL receiver coach yesterday, and we just had this discussion that it's by far and away the most undercoached position in the world because you're the head coach of a team, and the receiver position is the only spot open on my coaching staff, so I give it to you even though I'm an offensive line guy. So now I'm the receiver coach, but I'm really an offensive line guru.
Were you part of the Bengals squad when Hard Knocks came to camp?
I was not, man. I wish I could have been. That was the year after I left. And so, no, I didn't get to experience it. I guess it was perfect timing. They didn't want my shenanigans on it.
I just wondering if that would have been a good experience for you. You seem like the kind of guy who would have liked to have it. It seems like these Bears are enjoying their experience so far. There's only been one episode. We get another one this week, but it seems like they have the right personality for that, it appears.
Anytime you have cameras around or people or eyes, it brings out the best in you as a player. You're going to practice harder. You're just going to do a little more because you want to give a good accounting of yourself. And so I always think that's a good thing. But there'll be some negatives. They've kind of gotten away from the embarrassing part of guys getting cut and crying because you realize your dream may be coming to an end. That part of it is tough. But I enjoy watching Hard Knocks. Yeah, I would have enjoyed to be on it because I like to talk. And so for me, that would have been a great thing. I was never able to do Hard Knocks, but the players, when they see that camera, it just makes you practice and go harder.
TJ, thanks a bunch for giving me some time today. Continued success with Fox Sports 1, and I'm gonna go spread the word. We need more qualified receivers coaches in the NFL. I'll get the message out, man.
Hey, remember me telling you this, and all you got to do is just look around. And the receiver coaches are good. They know this. They agree with me. And yeah, just some of these things these guys teaching, man, it's not the right thing, but hey, who am I to say?
That's TJ Houshmandzadeh, Fox Sports 1, 5,700 plus career receiving yards with the Bengals. Not bad for a 7th round draft pick. I want to thank Randy Merkin, who gets me all of my A-list guests for this podcast. Sam Michael is the executive producer. Adam Delavitt runs the show for the Bet Rivers Podcast Network. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I'm Dan McNeil. Take care.